of live side split stretching and hip mobility work. We're doing this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, and hopefully make a little bit of progress in our side splits. Oh, whew. If you're ready, I guess it is time for us to begin. We are going to start warming up, all right? This is a side splits and hip mobility show that we do every single day to practice consistency. So you don't have to go super intense on any given day. This is to show up, do a little bit of work, and we're betting on doing that work often is going to help you make progress. All right. You don't have to kill yourself today. All right. If your hips are crazy and hurting, dial it back. Doesn't have to be so intense. All right. Let's begin with some hip cars. Hip cars look a little bit like this. We're going to start by lifting our knee way up as high as we can. Feel free to grab that knee, pull it in a little bit higher, and then see if you can hold the knee up. Then from here, we're going to open up that leg, point it to the side. Try to keep the hip in the same spot. It's not going anywhere. From here, we're going to lift that ankle, and we're going to bring the knee so that's pointing forward towards you guys, towards the camera. All right? We're going to keep on rotating. We're going to bring that knee down. We're going to bring the ankle up. Oh, ah. And then from here, we're going to bring the leg down and back. So that's sticking right behind you. We're flexing the hamstrings. We're flexing the glutes. We're pulling this leg back so you're feeling it right here in that hip flexor. And that is one rep. We're going to do 10 of these on the left side, 10 of these on the right side. Let's go. High knee. Keep out lifted. Bring it up. Open. Nice and wide. Strong. High. Rotate the leg. Get it to horizontal first. Rotate some more. Bring that ankle up, 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 up. Knee is going down a little bit. Bring that knee down and back. And that is one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's two. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's three. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's four. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's five. I'm going to do a couple facing this way. If you're struggling with balance, feel free to stick your hands up against the wall for a little bit of support. All right? Let's continue. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's six. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's seven. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's eight. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's nine. Last one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's 10. Whew, that is our hip cars. We are trying to build a little bit of strength while we work on our mobility, and that is what hip cars are for. When you're suffering, trying to lift your leg as high as possible, that's you spending time in that weak position trying to build some strength. All right? We're going to switch to the other side. Stand nice and straight. Keep that core nice and tight, and let's begin. High knee. See if you can bring that knee a little bit higher. Bring a little bit higher. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. Whew, that's one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's two. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's three. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Whoa, falling. Down and back. That's four. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's five. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's six. Whew, hamstring cramping. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's seven. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Down and back. That's eight. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Ankle up some more. Down and back. That's nine. Whew, last one. High knee. Open. Ankle up. Whew, down and back. That's 10. Whew. Stretch. Wiggle. Shake. Relax the legs. Get all loose and floppy. And give your hamstrings a little bit of a break. I don't know about you guys, but when I bring that leg down and back, when I am working on rotating the leg like so, my hamstrings are getting real tight, real tense. Whew. We're going to move on. We're going to get into some reverse hip cars, all right? They are basically the same. There's one thing I want you to know. I want you to try your best to keep your back nice and strong so that you're not doing this. You're not bending and arching and bending and arching and bending and arching. We're not trying to twerk here. We're trying to keep the back nice and strong so that we can focus on this part. bring the leg down and back. If you start lifting that leg super far back, you start going real high, and then your chest is up. You're gonna put a whole bunch of pressure right here in the low back. That is not what we want. All right. So keep the core tight. Stop trying to lift it so high up off the ground, and we're good to go. All right. Let's begin. Stick your hand up to the wall if you need help with balance, and keep that core tight. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's one. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's two. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's three. I'm gonna do a couple facing you guys. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's four. Back, side. Whoa, I'm off balance. Ankle up, ankle down, knee. I try to look up to the corner for a second, and of course, I immediately lost balance. Ankle up, ankle down, knee. I think that's five, maybe. Might have lost count because I started falling. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. But that means this is six. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's seven. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's eight. We got two more. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. That's nine. Last one. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee. Whew. That is some reverse hip curls. We got one more leg left, and we are almost done. Feeling tight, feeling tense. Do a little wiggle, do a little shake, move your body, and get ready for the last hip curl. All right, stand nice and straight, keeping the core nice and tight. Let's begin. Bring that leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes for the stretch right here in the hip flexor. Not in the low back, in the hip flexor. Lift to the side, rotate the ankle up, bring the ankle down, bring the knee forward. Whew, again, back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's two. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's three. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's four. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's five. Whew, five more, we're halfway there. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, six. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, seven. Whew, back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, eight. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's nine. Last one. Back, side, ankle up, ankle down, knee, that's 10. Whew, those are our hip cars. Whew. We did 10 reps forward on each leg, 10 reps back on each leg. And that means we've done a ton of reps. If you're just joining in, you're like, what is this crazy leg stuff that we're doing? We're building some strength and range in that hip joint. And we're mostly doing hip mobility and side splits. We do this every single day at 9 p.m. to work on a little bit of hip mobility and side splits training. If you like hip mobility, if you like side splits, if you like the idea of consistency and showing up a little bit every day to work on it together, then make sure to hit follow, hit subscribe, and keep coming back because we're live every day at 9 p.m. And by the way, since it's the weekend, we also have a 9 a.m. show, and you can feel free to come to that as well. All right, enough with the pitching. Next, we're going to into warm-up exercise number 2. That is the elephant walk. What I want you to do is fold at the hips, bring your belly button down into the ground, and fold. If you have a tight low back, like 90% of the population, I want you to just breathe and chill and relax those muscles. All right. Let your body drape. And when your low back tightness starts to relax, you're starting to feel that tightness start building in your hamstrings, it's time to start a little bit of movement. All right. What I want you to do is bend one knee and straighten the other leg. And I want you to fold your belly button down into the ground. All right. We're going to feel that nice, intense hamstring stretch in the straight leg. We should also feel a little bit of something in the bent leg. It's not completely just stretch free. It just feels different. All right. We're going to switch. so that the other leg is bent and the other leg is straight. Then we're going to keep switching back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. As you do this, I want you to keep on focusing on bringing your belly button down a little bit deeper into this stretch. Okay? Keep breathing. You might be feeling a little bit of tension here, sort of in your booty, your glutes, and that is probably because your hamstrings go up your leg and they connect into the bottom of your pelvis. When you're folded forward like this, the bottom of your pelvis is actually right here, where your butt cheeks are, and that is likely what you're feeling. All right, we're gonna do 5 more seconds of these. I want you to see if you can bring your belly button down just a little bit deeper into that stretch. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, that's it. Pop into a little bit of a squat. Come on back into standing. And that is our second warm-up exercise. For number 3, we're going to do some thoracic rotation. The thoracic spine is between your neck and your low back. It's designed to move real well, left, right, forward, back, and to rotate. All right. What we're going to focus on is some rotation. And we're going to get into the same position we were just in. One leg is bent, one leg is straight, our belly button is folding downwards. We're going to take the arm from the bent leg side. We're going to reach across to the straight leg. We're going to push against that shin bone, and we're going to help open up and rotate. I want you to stick your other arm straight up into the sky. I want you to rotate your neck to look at that hand. And I want you to breathe. And on the exhale, I want you to see if you can reach a little bit further back. All right? Inhale. Exhale. Whew. That is half of a rep. We got to do the other side to finish up that one. We're doing 5 in total. Take your time. Take it slow. Breathe. And you don't have to go as fast as I do. All right? Switching. This leg is bent. This leg is straight. This bent arm is holding that straight leg and it's pushing. And we are rotating. Whew. Reach up. Look at that hand. Breathe. Exhale and reach a little further. And that is one whole rep. We're going to do 4 more. Bent leg, straight leg, bent arm, straight leg. Reach. Open, 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 open. Reach some more. And come on back down. Whew. Other side. Bent leg, straight leg, bent arm, straight leg. Reach. Breathe. Reach some more. That is 2 reps. 3 more. Bent, straight, bent, straight, open, reach, breathe. Whew, that's 3. Bent, straight, open. Breathe and reach. Exhale. I think that's 3 on both sides, right? We got 2 more. Bent, straight, open. Breathe. And down. Other side. Remember to exhale and reach. That's 4. Oh, if you're feeling tired, if that was intense, shake out your shoulders, shake out your arms, do a little bit of a dance, and let's finish up with our 5th one. Bent leg, bent arm, straight leg. Reach. Inhale, exhale. Whew, other side. Last one. One more inhale, exhale. And that is our thoracic rotation. Whew. Come on back into standing. Do a little bit of shoulder movement. Wiggle those hips. Take advantage of all that mobility you just discovered in your spine. And breathe. We're going to move on into our 4th and final warm-up exercise. It's called the Cossack switch. You don't have to copy me right away. I'm going to demonstrate, and then we'll talk about how to get into it a little bit more easily. All right? The Cossack switch looks like this. We're dropping down on one side, doing a deep squat. On the other side, we're doing a side split, basically. And we're going to switch to the other side, hold here, and then come back. All right? For most of us, our ankles or knees or hips are not going to be ready for that cold. That is absolutely normal. And that's absolutely Okay, what I want you to do to start is actually bring your legs together and try your best to squat as low as you can. All right. It is very, very common that your heels will come up as you get lower, and that is what I want actually. So that's okay. Next, I want you to bring your chest down to your knees. Pull your knees in if you want, and I want you to focus on pushing your knees down towards your toes. That way, you're getting a nice stretch here in your Achilles tendon and in your calves. You can double check and poke your calves to make sure that they're crazy stretched out right now. All right. From here, we're just gonna chill, breathe, try to relax into this new position, get comfortable in it, and then, when it's feeling a little bit more comfortable, I want you to do some dancing. All right. I want you to do a little wiggle to the left, to the right, 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 and shake, shake. Just move. You don't actually have to be as, you know, aggressive with the dancing. We just need a little bit of movement in the knees, in the ankles, in the toes, so that your hips are a little bit more warmed up so we can get into the Cossack switches. Okay? So, when you've done all the warm up that you're ready to do, we're going to get into some Cossack switches. I'm going to scoot over here to the edge of the screen so you can see my whole body when I do this. You don't have to move because I can't see you anyway. All right? Next, we're going to stick our hands straight down into the ground. We're going to extend one leg out to the side. And then we're going to try and place this heel down on the ground. All right. With that heel down, with your foot flat, it is going to be a lot easier to stay stable. And that is what we want because we're doing a lot of shifting back and forth. We want you to be as stable as possible while you do that. All right. Next, I want you to get as low as you can with this heel down. If you're stuck right here, absolutely fine. There's plenty to keep moving. If you need to go a little bit deeper, because you can go a little bit deeper, great. Whatever the case, our next step is to get our butts over that away. So feel free to use your hands to help bring yourself over to the other side. And when you get to the other side, I want you to try your best to exhale and sink a little bit deeper into this stretched position on the other side. All right. Whew. From here, we're going to come back. Feel free to use your hands and support your way back to the other side. That is one rep. We're going to do 10 of these in total. We got 9 more to do. If you're not already doing them, put your hands down, extend the leg, plant that heel, get as low as you can, and let's begin. Across, pause, exhale, sink into a deeper stretch. Come back, pause, exhale, sink into a deeper stretch. Keep going. Use your hands if you need to. Across, exhale, sink into a deeper stretch. Come on back. That's 2. And keep going. That's 3. Keep going. 4. You're feeling pretty strong. You don't need your hands anymore or something like that. Feel free to skip the hands and keep going. That's 5. If you are feeling even stronger and you're ready to take it up to the next level, I want you to straighten out your back a little bit, sit up a little bit taller, and that should get your low back to engage in a slightly different way, and your balance is going to be challenged. I'm pretty sure this is 7. I'm do 2 more. Right here, like this. Actually, no, we're not. If your knees are feeling a little bit achy because this transition from side to side is putting a lot of pressure on your knees, you can change up the form, all right? What we can do instead is come up, come across, and sink down into the stretch. So up, across, sink into the stretch. That way you're not spending as much time going from side to side in this low position. You have to do it from a little bit higher up. All right? From here, keep going. Up, across, and down. And to finish this whole thing, you got one last final option. It's called the Cossack squat. You can push all the way up until you get into this triangular looking shape. Then you can drop down all the way deep. Then you go again, all the way up and all the way down. Whew, that is 10 reps. I think. I think I did the counting correct. I started talking about lots of stuff. But if that is 10, that means we're done with our warm up. We're ready to move on into some stretches. All right. If you're just joining in and all you've seen is us make ourselves really exhausted, and you're like, wait, what? That's just a warm up? Don't be confused. Don't be scared. This is a stretching and hip mobility show. We do a whole bunch of warm up exercises to make sure our muscles are warmed up so that we get the most out of our stretches. All right. We have 5 stretches that are coming up. The first one is a hamstring stretch. And before we get into that, it is important for me to tell you that if you're enjoying the show so far, you should definitely hit follow and you should definitely hit subscribe and you should keep coming back because at the end of the day, the thing that we care about the most is you practicing consistency. The show is designed to be doable every single day. In fact, I do this 9 times a week. And it should be very recoverable. So if you need a little bit of help practicing consistency, you need a little bit of help focusing on your hip mobility, you want to make it a little bit more fun when we suffer in our stretches, then this is the place for you. I'm seeing a lot of comments come in, so I'm going to take a quick look and scroll and see what's going on. Um, do, 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 do. And maybe I was wrong. What about for leg cramps? If you are suffering a lot from leg cramps, there's probably 2 or 3 things that could be the cause. One of them is you probably not have enough sodium and enough potassium. All right, so that's what those electrolyte drinks are typically for. Usually, just a little bit of salt water will do the trick. Alternatively, you're using muscles that you haven't really used very often, and if they're a little bit weak and you're putting them in a new position, they tend to cramp up. So what you can do is just survive as hard as that is, just survive for a little bit and then keep trying to do these for a little bit longer till you build up enough strength where it feels a little bit more natural. A lot of it is just teaching your brain what the movement is and it will get better over time. It's not easy, but it's one of those 2 things. All right. Oh, we're going to get into our 5 stretches. The first stretch is the hamstring stretch. And I recommend you guys at home to go grab something to pad your knee. It does not have to be fancy, it does not have to be a piece of foam. In fact, it can be a chew toy your dog just ripped up and is just a pile of filling fluff stuff that you just stick under your knee. It could be a dirty towel, dirty laundry, you just roll it up a couple times, stick it under your knee. It could be a dog bed. Punish the dog. No bedtime for you for ripping up all your toys. Stick it under your knee. Old flip flops, shoes, whatever you don't care about with a little bit of foam inside, stick it under your knee. All right? Once you have your little piece of padding for your knee, I hope it's roughly big enough for you to put both knees down because what I want you to do next is take a look at your hips and I want you to take a look at your form. All right? We are trying to stand straight up. We're trying to keep our hips nice and square with the rest of our body. The next step in this hamstring stretch is we're going to extend one leg out in front and we're going to fold our belly button down towards that leg. All right. What I don't want you to do, so don't want you to do, is start extending this leg way forward and then get it into a situation where this side of your hip is pointing way far back. This side of your hip is pointing way far forward. Your whole body is starting to twist. And yes, you are in a deep, cool looking position, but it is going to be much harder to focus on your hamstring stretch when you are all sorts of spread out like that. All right. So instead of being all the way spread out, pull that leg in back into your hip socket. Almost imagine you're sucking the leg in like Kirby. I don't know if you get the Kirby reference. Uh, and bring that belly button down to your thighs. And boom, this is our starting position. Okay. What we are focusing on is our belly button and bringing it down to the thigh. Everything else in the back can be relaxed. Everything in the body can almost be relaxed. So when you fold forward and you flop over, just chill. Relax, breathe, relax the toes, relax the feet, relax the calves, relax the hamstrings, relax the glutes, relax the low back, just chill out. Keep breathing. Let that tension in your hamstrings slowly relax, chill, be less miserable, and keep breathing. Okay? Next, we're going to take this difficulty up a little bit. We're going to get into a deeper stretch. What I want you to do is called the inhale, exhale, fold. You're inhaling and you're exhaling normally, right? So what I want you to do slightly differently is I want you to take a really big breath. Inhale. Fill up those lungs. I don't want you to take up so much air that you inflate like a balloon and you pop up, right? We don't want to be doing that. We want to stay in as much the same spot as possible. And then from there, we're going to exhale. I want you to slowly exhale that air. And while you exhale, I want you to focus on folding your belly button down towards your leg and just keep on trying to fold. Once you just can't get any further, that time will come. I promise. You can pause, you can breathe, and you can try to relax again. All right? That's it. That's what's coming up. Let's go. Inhale. Big breath in. Exhale and fold. Fold, 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 fold. That is level one. If your knees are aching, there's a little too much pressure on your knee, feel free to give it a slight bend, just a little bit. That will take pressure off the knee. I will take a little bit of pressure off of your hamstring. And if your knee doesn't feel better because you've taken the pressure off and you changed the angle or something, made a little adjustment, then feel free to focus on bringing your belly button and your chest down to the leg first, and then slowly straightening out the leg at the end so that the straight leg portion, that pressure where it is irritating to your knee, comes all the way at the end, and you can work on the stretch up until that point without that knee irritation. All right, that is a lot of words about your knee. We're gonna do one more inhale, exhale, fold. All right, inhale, exhale, and fold. Fold, 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 fold. And get deep into that stretch. Woo, woo. We're holding this for 30 seconds. That's it. Let's go. 29, 28, 27, whew, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Keep on breathing. Don't hold your breath. Try your best to relax your muscles. Again, if your knees are achy, feel free to give it a slight bend to take some pressure off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is our hamstring stretch. Whew. We got one more leg to do. All right, so let's get ready to switch over to the other side. Same rules as before. We want to keep the hips relatively neutral. We want to extend that leg out in front, and we want to almost pull that leg in to your waist, pull it into your body as we fold. Whew. From here, we're bringing the belly button down to that leg, and we're breathing. Ah, ah, keep on breathing. Keep on trying to relax. Relax the toes, relax the feet, relax the hamstrings, calves, glutes, low back, and bring that belly button down. One more breath. And we're going to inhale, exhale, fold. Let's go. Inhale, exhale, and fold. Whew. We're in a deeper stretch. Keep on breathing like normal. Ah. Ah. Keep on breathing. Keep on relaxing. 5 more seconds, and then we're going to do one last inhale, exhale, fold. Remember, we're trying to relax as much as we can. Whew. Inhale, exhale, fold. Let's go. Last one. Inhale. Exhale and fold. I'm out of air. That's it. We're holding this for 30 seconds. Let's go. 29, 28, 27. If right now you're feeling a whole bunch of tension in your neck, in your upper back, in your mid back, because you're trying to smash your face into your knees, you're working a little bit too hard. Okay? What this stretch is all about is folding your belly button down to your thigh. That is where the hamstring stretch is going to be. If you're putting a lot of pressure into your neck, you're putting it into your back, you're turning into a little ball trying to bring your head down to that knee, that is only stretching out your back. It is not stretching out your hamstrings. Okay? Whew. So you can chill. You can relax. Breathe. Grunt. Make as many noises as you need to. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is our hamstring stretch. Bring your leg in. Oh, chill. Again, this show is about practicing consistency. That does not mean you have to be bringing your 100% every single day of the week. It is only that you show up and you give what you can for that day. So if you're feeling tight, you're feeling a little sick, you're feeling like you're super anxious today because lots of crazy thoughts are running through your brain because you're planning a big party tomorrow and you're like, oh my gosh, and you can't calm down, that is a sign that you probably should not be giving 100%, right? And it's totally okay to give a little bit less on any given day. If throughout the week you show up, you give a couple of hundreds, you give a couple 80s, you give a couple 50s, you throw in a couple 30s when you're feeling sick, that is consistency. All right. We're going to continue. We're going to move on into our second stretch. What I want you to do is sit with your butt, your low back, your shoulders, your head up against the wall. And I want you to experience what nice posture could potentially feel like. I don't think it's actually what nice posture would feel like because your head is resting against the wall and your shoulders are too. And I don't think that that is a perfect straight line. But, that's not important. What's important is hopefully the wall is nice and cool. It's cooling your body off because you're all warmed up and you're hot. Cool. All right. Next, we're gonna bring our feet together. We're gonna pull our feet in towards our groin, and we are going to try to bring our knees down into the ground. All right. The butterfly stretch is a groin stretch. You're gonna feel it right here in the inside of your thighs. The way you feel it, the way you make the stretch harder is by bringing your knees down into the ground. What I want you to do at home is to make sure that you're using your outer thighs and your glutes, at least for the first couple of seconds, to bring your knees down with your own muscle power. And figure out exactly which muscles make the stretch more intense. All right. So take a second here and try to use your outer thighs, your glutes, pull your legs down, and I'm making lots of crazy sounds. It shouldn't actually hurt, but I want you to know that you're making an effort to bring your knees down into the ground. And if you are brand new to the show, you're like, what muscles are those? I have absolutely no idea. As long as you're feeling a more intense and growing stretch here in the groin, you noticed your knees went down just a little bit, you're fine. You're doing great. You don't have to worry about it. Next, we're going to take our hands, we're going to drop them in just a little bit inside of our knees, and we're going to push our legs down into the ground. All right? Push, 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 push. And breathe. Relax all the muscles that you were stressing before and just focus on the hands for it now. All right. When you breathe here, I want you to exhale. And as you exhale, I want you to push your arms down just a little tiny bit deeper. And that is our stretch. When you're doing this, when you're pushing your legs down, you're going to feel a bit of pressure in the back of your head and your upper shoulders because your hands are pushing your legs down, but your shoulders are pushing your back. And that is normal. So don't freak out about that. All right. Let's go. 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. Remember, on the exhale, I want you to push your legs down. Inhale, exhale, down. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. My right hip is feeling quite tight today. Usually by this point, I can bring both my knees down to the ground. Today, I'm not doing it nearly as hot. So I'm going to acknowledge it and I'm going to just try my best. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. All right. I did get a little bit better towards the end. Last couple of seconds. Oh, but today's not a 100% day for me either. We're going to move on and we're going to flap the wings of our butterfly stretch. All right. So bring the legs up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Just trying to make sure the muscles are working, they're ready to move, and your legs are awake. If you're struggling a little bit right now to lift that leg up, feel free to grab your leg and give it a little bit of a shake and go, hey, 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 we got stuff to do. Don't make me look bad. Don't make me look bad. And you can shake out that leg. And once you're shaking it out a little bit, your legs should wake up and be ready to flap. That is how we know we're ready to move on to our third stretch. You can get rid of the cushion, you don't need it anymore. We are going to move on into our third stretch. It is called the standing pancake. And in general, we're going to fold with our legs wide. And it looks a little bit like this. Whee! And the ultimate goal is to have our upper body and our lower body go boom, pancake. It is really hard. So, what I want you to focus on is opening up those legs to a nice, wide, but comfortable position. Something like this. If you're feeling a pinch in the hips, you've gone too far, you can bring your legs back in a little bit. Then focus on this belly button. Focus on bringing it down to the ground. Fold, 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 fold. Fold some more. Fold again. Fold some more. Fold. From the side, it's going to look a little bit like this. Fold, 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 fold. It's going to look like you're just trying to touch your toes, right? And that's basically it. From here, what I want you to do is focus on chilling, focus on breathing, focus on bringing the belly button down to the ground, and that's it. That's the whole stretch. To make this harder, you can extend your arms past your head so your biceps are by your ears, and that will make this stretch a lot more difficult. You can hold something in your hands while you do that, and that will make it even more difficult. If that is too hard, you can always bring your arms back into a little hug yourself position and go, oh, it's so painful. And you can control the difficulty that way. All right. At this point, I think you got as much information as you need to start. Feel free to widen your stance a little bit, bring your legs into a deeper stretch, and stick your butt back a little bit to help balance. That's it. Let's go. 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember, you can always widen your stance to make it more difficult. You can extend your arms past your ears. Sorry, your arms past your ears to make it more difficult. Remember to breathe. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. If it's too hard, you can always bring your arms back. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. If it's really too hard, you can do a little push up. You can pull your body out of that position, come up a little bit higher, and make it easier on yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Put your hands down. Oh, that is our pancake. Slowly try your best to bring your feet together. If you can't move right now because your legs are so tired, you can wiggle your toes in, wiggle your heels in, wiggle your toes in, wiggle your heels in, wiggle your toes in, wiggle your heels in, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, and slowly bring each leg in one at a time. If you really put yourself through the ringer during that stretch, you might be stumbling around like this, like an old man with a cane, right? That's okay. Focus on pushing off your knees, push yourself back into standing, and that is our standing pancake. The main muscles that you're feeling right now is a combination of two muscles. One is the inner thigh muscles. Those muscles, when you're stretched out, but you're also holding up your weight, they're straining, they're contracting, but they're also stretched out. And that does not make it very fun. And that suffering is probably what you're feeling on the inside of your legs. It's probably why you need to toe heel, toe heel, toe heel, toe heel. The other place you're going to be feeling that stretch a ton is in your hamstrings because it doesn't matter if your legs are together and you're folding that touch your toes, or if your legs are apart and you're folding to fold your chest into your legs, your hamstrings are getting stretched and they're not going to like it. So that is our third stretch. We're going to move into something a little bit more chill. We're moving to stretch number 4. It's called the pigeon. You actually have the option between the pigeon or the figure 4. Both look a little bit like this. We're going to stand, put all of our weight in one leg. We're going to cross the other leg to the other side so that the ankle is resting above the knee. We're going to bring we're going to bring that ankle up to our belly button. We're going to bring our belly button down to that ankle, something like this. The goal of this stretch here is to feel it right here in the side of your hip. This is a glute muscle. All right. You'll also feel it probably in your hamstrings. You'll probably feel it on the outside of your thigh. Probably feel a little bit of pinchiness here in the front of that hip. That's all normal. But we're going to do some variation of a stretch that looks a little bit like that next. All right. If you're a regular, you know exactly which one you prefer. Go ahead and hop into it. Today, I'm pretty sure we started with the figure 4 stretch, so we're going to continue with some figure 4 stretch because this morning and this evening we're going to try and do the same stretch. If you don't know, we have another show at 9 a.m. All right, let's go ahead and lay down. So for the figure 4 stretch, you come down onto your back, you take the leg that we were talking about crossing earlier, and you cross it over to the other side, like so. Next, you stick your arm through the triangle and around the outside leg that is not crossed over, and you grab that knee. All right. From there, we are going to pull the legs in towards our chest. For most of us, especially if you're a regular, you should be able to get a couple of nice deep pulls in. What I want you to do is inhale, exhale, and pull as you exhale. All right. And inhale, exhale, and pull. Maybe one more. Inhale, exhale, and pull. All right. Now that you're feeling the stretch building up, it's time for 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27. Keep on pulling that knee into your chest. 25, 24. If your knee, the one that's out here, is feeling a little sensitive, is feeling not quite nice, feel free to take your hand and cup that knee and pull it in a little bit towards your chest. 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, that's it. Relax. Oh, drop your arms, drop your legs. Whew. That is figure four number one. We gotta do the other side. All right, so let's spin around and get ready to do the other side. We're taking the other leg, we're crossing it over. We're reaching our arm through the triangle we just made. We're reaching the other arm around that outside leg, and let's go. Pull, 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 pull. Breathe. Exhale and pull. Inhale, exhale, pull. You might find one leg is way more flexible than the other, or you're feeling like one knee is kind of like way out here or something. That is completely normal for regular people. If you have a leg that's stronger, if you have a leg that you favor when you jump or climb or take the stairs, it is very likely your hips are not going to be perfectly symmetrical. All right? And that's okay. From here, we're ready. 30 seconds. Let's go. 29, 28, 27. Keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Keep pulling. Don't relax. Don't fall asleep either. 12, 11, 10. If your knees are achy, feel free to cup them, pull them in directly. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ugh. Relax everything. Let your legs drop. Feel free to let your hips drop to the one side, then let them drop to the other. Oh man, that is our fourth stretch. We have a total of five stretches, so we only got one left. If you joined in at some point and you didn't know, this is a live side split stretching and hip mobility show. We do this every single day to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, and to make the suffering we're about to do a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable, so it's easier to stay consistent. This show runs every night at 9 p.m. Eastern and on the weekends at 9 a.m. Eastern as well. So if you want to start your day in like 11 hours and change with a little bit of consistency with little side splits, come back for that show at 9 a.m. Eastern in the morning. And then after that, you can keep coming back if you really, really want to. You don't have to. You can keep coming back for 9 p.m. Eastern for tomorrow's show of this exact time. Cool? We started 45 minutes ago. So if you're not in the Eastern time zone, that is our normal start time. All right, Monday through Sunday. All right. Ugh. We're going to move on into our fifth and final stretch. The fifth and final stretch is the side splits. If you've never done one before, don't worry. We're going to break it down. We're going to take it nice and slow. We're going to talk about safety, and you can stop, breathe, chill whenever you'd like. All right? First thing we're going to do is safety. I want you to stand with your butt up against this wall, or a wall, not this wall, because this is my wall. I don't want you in my room. Get out of my room. Go find your own wall. All right? From here, I want you to take one step forward, and boom, we are in position. I want you to open up those legs nice and wide, and I want you to rest your butt against the wall. So you got this little tripod form. Each feet and then your butt cheeks, they are each one leg of this tripod. You got three legs, except one of your legs is your butt. And the reason why this is important is because when we get into a side split, your legs are only going to get wider, your hands are going to come down to the ground, and when you're trying to finagle yourself into a deeper stretch and you're wiggling and you're shaking and you're squirming, at some point it is highly likely your butt will go back and you go, oh, I'm falling! And then because the wall is right behind you, you'll fall into the wall. Everything will be chill. You'll do a little hip thrust, whee, and then you'll come back into your stretch. All right, that's what the wall is for. In case you lose balance, start going backwards. The wall is there to catch you, and you get right back into your stretch. Cool. Now that we have safety covered, let's actually get into the stretch. What I want you to do once your legs are wide is make sure your hips don't hurt. If your hips are feeling real pinchy, feels really tender right now, that is a good sign you've gone too far. Bring your legs back in just a little bit until that pinchiness is gone and we're ready to fold. Focus on the belly button, bring it down to the ground, and whew, here we go. This is how we start the stretch. What I want you to do from here is put your hands down on the ground if you can. If you cannot, feel free to elevate your hands with a stool, with some yoga blocks, with a coffee table, with a chair. All right? The only thing that matters is that it is light enough that you can kind of adjust it around to move it so that it can accommodate what your body is doing, and that it is sturdy enough that you won't have it, flip over and collapse or break underneath your weight. All right? From here, we are getting into the most important position this whole entire side split. It is the leg rotation. All right. Right now, our knees are kind of pointing forward and our feet are flat on the ground. Right. What I want you to do is instead of having your knees forward, I want you to rotate your legs back 90 degrees so that your knees are pointing up, your toes are pointing up, and your heels are down. Okay. We got to do both sides. That's the right leg. Boom. That is the left leg. The reason why we do this is because we don't want our thigh bones to smash into our hip bones. And when we rotate like this, one of the nubby parts of your thigh bone basically rotates out of the way so it won't smash. Perfect. From here, you are in your side split. If this is your first time, congratulations. If it's not your first time, then we got some work to do. So if you're ready, do a little bit of a lean to the right, a little bit of a lean to the left, a little bit of a lean to the right, a little lean to the left, and see if you can get a little bit deeper into that stretch. Each time you lean, push your legs out just a little bit further. If you are right up against the wall, feel free to rest your butt against that wall. It'll take a little bit of pressure off of your leg muscles. It'll help you feel a little bit more stable, and we're going to use it for our stretch. When your knees are pointing up and the top of your head is also kind of pointing up, you are in a side split. All right. And what that means, what's important here, is you can start relaxing your other muscles. If your feet were really tense, if your toes are real tense, if your calves were real tense, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your low back were real tense, this is your chance. Relax them. And breathe. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Sink a little bit deeper into your stretch. That's it. 30 seconds. We're going to hang out here and we're going to keep on trying to wiggle a little bit deeper. 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, that's it. Walk your hands forward a little bit. Pull your legs in underneath you. Oh, bring them in. Oh, get into something that kind of resembles a kneeling position, and that is our first side split looking thing. All right. What we just did was put a whole bunch of tension into our legs, and that is not going to help you get into your second side split. What we need to do is relax those muscles. The longer, the looser they are, the deeper you'll be able to get into your next stretch. All right. So we're going to come back into standing. Oh, grunt, groan, make as many sound effects as you need to. I promise it helps. And we're going to start shaking out our legs and we're going to try and relax them. All right? What we're going to do next, excuse me, is shake out your ankles. I want you to gently shake, 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 shake. Shake out your ankles. Shake, 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 shake. Shake out your ankles. Flop them. Wiggle them. Do a little dance. And what we're trying to do here is make sure that all the muscles above the ankles that control whether your ankle is rotating, you're flexing, pointing your toe, pointing to side, those muscles are chilling. Those muscles are relaxing. If your ankle is going all over the place, if your foot is flying all over the place, those muscles have to be relaxed enough to allow that to happen. All right. Once you've done shaking out one side, let's move on to the other side. Shake, 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 shake. You can start nice and gentle. Doesn't have to be crazy. As you get more comfortable, as you figure out that you're capable of so much more than you ever thought, you can pick up the intensity. You can flop it around. You can go blah 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 blah. All right. Once you have done that, hopefully you notice your legs are already feeling much better. Feel free to do a little knee bend, stretch out those calves a little bit, and we're ready to move on into some hip stuff. All right. What I want you to do next is stand and put all of your weight into one leg, big toe of the other foot down into the ground. I want you to rotate the knee in, rotate the knee out, rotate the knee in, rotate the knee out, rotate the knee in, rotate the knee out. Notice the rest of the body is basically not moving. The only thing that's moving is this thigh bone where it connects into your hip socket. We're trying to use the muscles in our hip to work this leg motion. And if you're new to the show, if you're just building your strength, you're not super confident in this position just yet, take your time, work on the in and out, and in and out, and in and out. If you've been here for a while, you're regular. Feel free to straighten out that leg and use those same muscles. Shake a little bit more aggressively, shake a little harder, shake faster. Keep on leaning more and more and more of your weight into the standing leg, and shake, 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 shake. Let that thigh muscle flop, fly, go crazy, go everywhere, and once it's flying around, you know that leg is relaxed. We gotta do the other side. One leg is standing, holding all of our weight. Big toe is down for the other leg. We're doing the in, out, 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 in, out. And when you're ready, if you're ready, again, you don't have to push into this if you're not prepared for it, if you're not ready for it. And we're going to shake out that leg. This thigh is relaxing because all of your weight, all of the support is happening on this standing leg. This leg is holding almost no weight. That's what, if I were to stand and put more weight on it, it would be much harder for me to shake fast. All right. So all your weight is on that leg. We're relaxed. We're shaking. We're flopping, and we're throwing those thighs all over the place. And now, after all of that shaking, you should be feeling a lot more relaxed. You should be feeling a lot looser, a lot wigglier, and we're ready to get into side split number two. Let's go. We're standing 8 to 12 inches in front of the wall, taking one step in front for most people, and we're opening up those legs. From here, we're folding, bringing the belly button down into the ground. Put your hands down, chill, relax. If you cannot reach or if you just don't want to because it's too much work, feel free to elevate your hands on something stable, something you can move around. From here, we're going to rotate our legs so that our knees, instead of pointing forward, they're going to point up. And our toes, instead of pointing forward, are going to point up. It looks a little bit like this. Focus on this leg. Boom. Heels are down, toes are up, knees are up. We got to do the other side. Boom. Heels are down, toes are up, knees are up. We are in our side splits. And now it's time to drift and get a little bit lower. Exhale. Let's see if we can sink a little bit deeper right away. Add a little bit of a lean to the right, add a little bit of lean to the left, and keep leaning. See if you can push your legs out to either side. Feel free to walk your hands towards your hips, rest your butt against the wall, and lean into that for a second. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Try to drop your hips deeper into that stretch. Relax your toes, relax your feet, relax your calves, relax your hamstrings, glutes, low back. And we're going to make a slight change this time. What I want you to do is walk your hands forward so that it looks like you're about to do a push up. All right. Your head should be kind of pointing up at an angle. Your knees should also be pointing up slightly at an angle. And we're ready to hold this stretch. 30 seconds, 29, 28, 27. What makes this version slightly different than the previous one is this time you're probably feeling more of a stretch in your inner thighs. We need a combination of inner thigh flexibility. The inner thighs are also called the adductors, and hamstring flexibility to get to that full side split. And when you lean forward like this, you emphasize a little bit more of the adductors. All right? 20, 19, 18, 17. Keep breathing. 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, walk your hands forward a little bit, pull your legs in from underneath you, and that is whew, side split number 2. Oh, that means we're going to come back up into standing. We're going to shake out our legs. We're going to relax our bodies and then prepare to get into side split number 3. Let's go. Come on back into standing. Oh, grunt, groan. Make as many sound effects as you need to. If you're wobbling around a little bit like a drunk penguin right now because your legs aren't working so good, that is okay. Try your best to start the light shake. Shake out the ankles back and forth, side to side. If you can start swinging them around in something that looks like a circle-ish, great. And as you get more comfortable, as it gets easier and easier and easier, feel free to pick up the intensity. Shake, 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 shake some more. Shake, 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 shake. And we're gonna do the other side. Shake, 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 shake some more. Again, this is all about relaxation. All right. So if your ankles are moving, they're going wherever they please. That is a sign that all the muscles that help control that ankle are also chilled out, letting it go wherever it pleases. And as you shake your leg, you'll find that some other muscles will also start relaxing over time. And that is, in fact, what we want. Next, we're going to move on up into our hips. All of our weight is in one leg. Big toe of the other leg is down. We're rotating in, out, in, out, in, out, developing some control here with these muscles in the hip. And as you get more comfortable, we can do more intense shakes. But there's another thing that you can do, that is to put your hip mobility to work and start doing cool moves, all right? If you want, you can start adding in some stanky leg, all right? You can stanky leg, and then you can be all graceful, point that leg out, and do some in and out and in and out and in and out. It's Saturday night. If you're going out tonight, it's a perfect time to practice some moves. And be graceful, be sassy with it, and have fun with that hip mobility. All right? The show is all about practicing consistency. If you can make it fun, if you can make it enjoyable, if you can make it so that you're not just drilling movements, you're learning some skills, having fun with it, it's going to make it a lot easier to stay consistent. Cool? So, once you've shaken out your hips, we are ready to move on into side split number 3. Let's go. Stand 8 to 12 inches in front of that wall. Open up your legs nice and wide. Breathe. If you're feeling a pinching pain in the hips, you've gone too far, bring your legs back, and then we're ready to fold. Boom, hands down, or on something, if that makes you feel a little bit better. From here, we're going to rotate the legs and get into position. Right now, our knees are kind of pointing forward, our toes are kind of pointing forward with our feet flat on the ground. What we're going to do is rotate our legs back 90 degrees, and it looks a little bit like this. Boom, heels down, toes up, knees up. Heels down, toes up, knees up. And using your little hand supports, whatever those are, let your body drape and sink a little bit deeper into the stretch. Ho, ho, ho. Once you're ready, feel free to add a little wiggle to the side, left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. Sit on your wall, rest your butt, do a little wiggle, relax your feet, relax your calves, relax your toes, relax your hamstrings, relax your glutes. Breathe, sink into the stretch. Sink into the stretch some more. Whoo, 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 whoo. And we're ready. You can decide for the third and final one which position you want to spend more time in. If you want to do the one that's more forward leaning, if you want to do the one that's leaning against the wall, it is up to you. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna hang out for 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That is it. Quick highlight before you get out of this stretch. If you have to get out, feel free to get out. When you are in this stretch, if you lean forward a little bit, you fold your belly button forward, if you extend your arms up and you lean a little bit, you get pulled a little bit forward, you're also doing a pancake. So this stretch, this situation that you're in right now is very versatile for a whole bunch of different stretches. All right, let's go. We're out of here. Crawl forward. Bring your legs in. Ugh. That is the third and final side split. We're going to shake out one more time, get loose, get wiggly, and then we're going to do a couple of rounds of joint checks, and we'll wrap up for today with some Q&A. Let's go. Come on back into standing. Whew. And let's shake it out. Shake out the ankles. You can start nice and gentle. At this point, you should be a little bit more comfortable compared to the first time you shake. So you might be able to start just shaking a little bit faster, a little bit more intensely. The more you do these, the easier it will be for your brain to react, to respond, to get relaxed, to chill out. So as you do more over a long period of time, you'll be able to relax faster and faster and faster. All right? So do a couple of seconds. When your legs are feeling a little bit better, you're feeling a little smoother, we're ready to move on into our hips. All your weight is one leg, big toe is down, we're rotating in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. When you're ready, move on to this side. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And of course, you got options. If you want, you can do some stanky leg, bring the leg in, bring the leg out, bring the leg in, bring the leg out. You can just focus on that stanky leg, one move at a time. You can play with whatever hip mobility you've been developing with this workout. And of course, you can do the standard stick your leg out, shake, 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 shake aggressively until your thighs are going flying all over the place and they look like they're made of jello. Whatever it is that you decide to do, have fun with it, enjoy, let your legs relax, and we're going to move on right now into our joint checks to wrap up. What I want you to do first is some hip circles, nice and slow. Go through some nice range of motion. Oh, feel those hip muscles getting stretched. Oh, keep rotating. Whew. Oh, man. Maybe two rotations to one side and two more back. Oh, I like to spend a little bit of time in the left and right side because they are where I feel it the most after the side splits. If you feel it somewhere else, feel free to spend some time there. Next, we're going to do a quick high knee. If you're able to lift your knees up, we're ready to move on. You don't have to dwell on it. Next, we're going to keep our feet directly underneath our hips, and we're going to pop into a little bit of a squat. All right? In this version, what I want you to do, what I want you to focus on is bring your chest down and bring your toes forward. When you do this, you're shifting a whole bunch of your body weight forward that way. All right. And your toes should be working real hard. They should be gripping the floor to keep you from falling forward. That is what we want. We're trying to force them to get engaged, force them to get involved. When your toes are working, the arch of your foot should also be working a little bit harder. And as long as your knees are pointing forward, your Achilles tendon and your calves should be nice and stretched out. From here, put your hands on the ground real quick. Do a couple of calf raises. Try to lift your heels straight up, and that might be easier if you imagine you're trying to balance your weight between your big toe and your index toe. All right, go straight up if you can. If you imagine balancing it across the whole entire forefoot, it might look a little bit more like this. You might start going out a little bit. All right, we want to go straight up and down. Boom. When your calves are tired, you're probably good to stop. What we just did was force the toes of our feet, the arch of our foot to work really well with our Achilles tendon, with our calves, force some pressure into the knees, work the quads, get the low back engaged, get the hips folded. So if you're able to do some kind of close version of those calf raises at the end, then chances are your leg mobility is pretty good. Your joint mobility is pretty good, and you're ready to go back to whatever you had to do today. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today and working on your consistency, working on your side splits, working on your hip mobility with me on this Saturday evening. I hope you had fun. I hope you are enjoying the workout, and I hope you're feeling a little bit better now that it's over. We do this live every single day at 9 p.m. to practice consistency, to build a little bit of community, to make the suffering that we do every day a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable. So if you've liked the show so far, if you like side splits, you like hip mobility, if you like consistency, make sure to follow and subscribe. I make some other content that you will start seeing if you follow and subscribe. Most of it is about trying to integrate a little bit of fitness, a little bit of mobility into your life so that it feels like a natural part of it instead of something you have to commit a whole bunch of time and do on the side. All right. Most of that is quick tutorials, quick videos showing you how to do a quick workout in like 2 minutes while you're waiting for your coffee to finish, while you're waiting for your noodles to boil, while you're waiting for your microwave to finish heating up lunch. All right. If you like that type of stuff, you should definitely hit follow and hit subscribe because that is the type of stuff that I make. On top of that, I got one last thing that I do, and that is part of my own fitness journey, my own fitness goals. I am restarting skill training in calisthenics, and I'm trying to make little tutorials to help you guys develop similar skills. So far, I have 3 videos out: frog stand, crow pose, and elbow lever. I'm gonna do a quick demonstration tell you to show you what those are, and you can decide if you want to go see more. And if you do want to see more, they are available over on YouTube. The username on YouTube is the same as on Instagram and on TikTok. It's youtube.com/@ symbol splits on the side. All right, frog stand looks a little bit like this. With your elbows, we're going to stab it into this little butt cheek looking part right here of our calf and thigh. And we're going to do that on both sides. We look a little bit like a frog, right? We're going to stick our hands down with our index fingers pointing up and our fingers spread out. And we're going to lean into it. Boom. Frog stand. The frog stand keeps your balance pretty low to the ground, and you're just trying to figure out how to balance off your forearm bone. All right. So this is a great beginner exercise to start figuring out how balance works. And when you get comfortable there, you can actually level it up. One of the ways you can level it up is just to lean really far forward and try to stick your butt into the air. And as you get more comfortable with that, sticking your butt into the air and leaning really far forward, it unlocks the next skill, which is called the crow pose. What makes the crow pose different is instead of sticking our elbows into that, butt crack of our calf and thigh, we are resting the knees on top of the tricep. When you're first starting, I recommend resting as close to the elbow as possible. All right, that's because it's very firm there, and it's not squishy and it's not as soft as the rest of your arm, and it'll be a little bit easier to balance on. So what happens is we're going to bring our arms together, nice and close to our chest. We're going to rest just below our elbows, right on top of that sort of flat part of the knee on both sides. We're going to point our fingers so that they're up, putting the hands down, we're leaning forward, and boom, frog pose. Sorry, crow pose. From the side, it looks a little bit like this. Boom. And this gets much, much, much closer into handstands and handstand push-ups. And I completely lost balance. So just ignore that I failed there. From here, uh, the crow pose is one of those skills that gets really good at helping you get used to being upside down, helping you get used to leaning over. And I don't know, I'm so tired, not able to pull them off. There we go, boom, crow pose. All right, the crow pose requires a little bit more strength, a little bit more skill, but a lot of it is still stacking your bones on top of each other so that you get nice, strong structure. In the case of the crow pose, we're basically sticking our knee to the hip elbow to the wrist in a nice straight line so that those bones stack on top of each other, and we're just leaning forward. At some point, when you get really strong, you might not need those bones stacked on top of each other. You can use your muscles to do it. But until then, you got the bones stacking nothing. All right. There's one last move, and then I'll be done. And I'll look at Q&A. That is the elbow lever. The elbow lever is real cool because it's basically a plank, right? Pretty skill that everybody knows how to do. And what we do with it is turn your body into a seesaw, and boom, you just start floating on your elbows. If you get a little bit stronger, you can lift your body up, you can drop on down, you can do a little wiggle, you can do a dance, you can try to balance on one side, and that is essentially the elbow lever. If you have any interest in any of those skills, please check out the YouTube tutorials that I have put out. Again, the YouTube videos, the YouTube account is at Splits on the Side on YouTube. And the videos are like 5 or 6 minutes. So you can go check those out, decide if you want to give them a try. And if you decide to work on them, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know back in the live. Just tell me. And if you have any questions, this live runs every single day, and we do Q&A at the end. So feel free to bring those questions in and let me know. And I'll do my best to give you a little bit of tip, a little bit of help, a couple of tips. Cool? All right. With that, my spiel is done. I'm going to look at the questions and comments. I'm going to scroll over on YouTube real quick because that tends to be a little bit faster. Heather Thompson says, "Hello, I subbed. Welcome, Heather. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And Heather says, "Dude." I don't know when "dude" was sent, but I presume it was a while back because I think I saw the hand emoji from way far back there. Huinar explained that I am a little too far away from the phone to see the live chat, but I am here now. The Lone Wolf says, "I think my low back pain was from sitting too low on my adjustable office chair I use at home." Oh man, that's one of those realizations that always makes you feel really dumb. And I see you sent the emoji where you're going like this, but you know, what if you never discovered? What if you just continue to suffer through that pain for even longer time because you didn't realize it was the adjustable office chair. So at least you figured it out now, and now you can do something about it, right? That's awesome. Okay, that is all the chat over on YouTube. I have a lot of messages over on TikTok to scroll through, so give me just a second. If you're on the TikTok chat, and you're like, "What are you talking about? What chat?" It is because as the owner of the live stream, I get notifications when people join, and usually there are a couple thousand, maybe tens of thousands of people who join at some point throughout the live. And I get a lot of stuff to scroll through, and for some reason the chat has been disappearing. Some of the text has been disappearing, so early messages seem to disappear. And I'm looking for one that I responded to earlier today, and it doesn't look like it's here, so it's definitely gone. But if you guys are still here, you got questions, feel free to send them in the chat. There's still a couple of you online, so let's see what is up. Scroll, 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 scroll some more. Yep, there's a couple questions about what to do about leg cramps. I think I answered them very basically earlier on. But if you have more specific questions, or if I didn't do a good enough job because I glanced at the question pretty quickly, feel free to throw it back in the chat and I can tackle it again. You don't know me, says I'm joining. Amazing. I hope you had a good live and I hope you had fun. All right, what else? 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 Kana Bug says, "After a few weeks going these, I gained my flexibility back." Amazing, Kana. That's so awesome. Um, uh, for the new people on the live, it might not be super easy for you to gain flexibility for the first time. Getting it back tends to be a little bit easier. If Kana's just being kind and being modest, um, then maybe I don't know where I'm going with the sentence. I don't think that thought actually makes any sense. Kana, that's awesome. Congratulations. I'm glad that you are feeling like you are back at your flexibility level that you were at before. Um, That's awesome. I think it's only been a couple of weeks. Yeah, so amazing. That's so good. For everybody else, what I meant to say was something along the lines of other people's experiences are not what you should expect. Whatever those disclaimers are when you are about to go buy a product, and they're like, past performance is not an indicator of future behavior, or whatever future performance, whatever that expression is. Um, Especially when you're gaining existing or previously held flexibility back, it's just like strength. If you have lost muscle that you've stored had on your body for a long time because I don't know, you weren't sleeping well, you're feeling sick for a couple of weeks, regaining that muscle will be way faster because you've already developed it once. And preferably, if you've held on to it and you've stayed pretty muscular for a while, it'll be much easier for you to go back into that state compared to when you're developing it for the first time. So, um, if if any of you are at all discouraged because you're like, oh, Kana's making so much progress so fast, don't don't. Everybody's on their own journey, right? And if you've never developed flexibility before, this is your first time working on hip mobility, that is a good reason why it's taking a little bit longer. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna keep scrolling. Jay says tap 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 tap. Thank you for the support, Jay. Oh, there we go. Glass Cosmetics asks, what about the leg cramps? Um, Oftentimes, when you're cramping, it is because you have weaker muscles that just have not been trained to do what you're asking it to do. And I think the leg cramps came in pretty early because I paused to respond to them like a third of the way through the show, I think. So if you got them during hip cars, if you got them during one of the more warm up exercises, it is often likely that you just haven't done enough of those exercises for you to be able to figure out how to control them well. And that is totally fine. That's totally normal. Sticking with it for a little bit longer, dealing with it, might just get you through that initial phase of weirdness. Alternatively, you can also consider a couple bit more bits of electrolytes. Starting the live or a couple minutes before the live, having a banana might help. That's good for potassium. I'm pretty sure like spinach also has like even more potassium, or broccoli has more potassium, but a banana is like very, downable right before anything. Um, and I imagine most people have way too much salt in their diet as it is, so I don't think I have to recommend salt. But Gatorade is basically salt water and sugar, plus maybe a handful of vitamins. If you know, if you don't generally need those if you're eating a relatively balanced, healthy diet. So the main thing for electrolytes is salt and potassium. And uh, bananas, bananas are the answer. All right. B says my knees ache after leg day. Also, lower back hurts. Will hip exercises help me? It is possible. It is not guaranteed. So, if your knees ache after leg day, part of it is probably that you're lifting heavy weights and your knees are suffering a lot of pressure, right? That is completely normal. But part of that knee ache could be, and I don't know what your situation is, but part of that knee ache could be some tiny little imbalances that put a little bit extra pressure onto different parts of your knees, right? If you have a little bit of a collapsed arch going on here, right? Instead of having your arch will flatten out a little bit. And when your arch flattens out, you tend to have your knees bow in just a little bit. All right. I'm exaggerating a little bit, obviously. You might be in a position where it's barely visible, it's barely noticeable, but that tiny little bit might make your knees ache, might make your knees irritated. So it's possible that training some of your hip muscles to stay a little bit stronger, to stay a little bit more confident in each position might help a little bit, but maybe it's the feet exercises that you need more. What else? You said something about low back. It is possible that your low back is irritated and achy because you don't have enough mobility in the hips. And what your low back is doing to compensate is it's basically the weakest link and it's just figuring out how to do it. All right. For example, if you were squatting and you were trying to keep your chest upright, but you weren't able to fold at your hips to get that upright position. And instead, what you were doing was sticking your butt here and then putting all the pressure on the low back. And then you're trying to sit up a little bit straighter like this, and all your pressure is right here. And then you're carrying weight on top of it. That is going to make your low back hurt, right? So, where is that mobility supposed to come from? Some of it is supposed to come from your upper chest, your upper back, being able to bend a little bit more without putting pressure onto your low back. Some of it will come from what your hips are doing and positioning your hips underneath you and getting into a slightly different form. So it is possible that hip mobility and hip strengthening will help you with your other exercises. But it's also possible that it's not that related. They're just like, you know, they're not as direct relationships as it would be nice for them to be, so that we could say yes, absolutely do this. Um, they could be. That is the short answer. Okay, I'm gonna keep scrolling. Scroll. Is there anything else that I have missed? I think from the looks of it, we are almost done. Kana says, "Rah! I did it! Congratulations, Kana." I'm just scrolling back and forward and just making sure I didn't miss anything at this point. But otherwise, I think we are done with the chat for today. Doopity doop, doop 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 doop, doop doop doop. A whole bunch of people have joined. A whole bunch of people have followed, and thank you all for doing that. I appreciate it. That's really helpful for life. Okay, yeah, there's definitely. Ooh, okay. B says I understand. Thank you. Awesome. I know it wasn't like a super clear, helpful answer for you, but hopefully, hopefully somebody in your life will give you some guidance specifically for your needs, because they'll be able to see what you're doing and have more expertise on it than me, and help you sort that out. Jonah asks, what about bone cracking? Knees, hips, will mobility help with that? Um, if it's just your joints cracking, that is possible. It's possible that the cracking is very similar to the sounds that your knuckles make when you are cracking them. And if they are not painful, then it's probably okay. And when you figure out and you get used to a certain pattern of movement, you grind your way through a new movement pattern, it will move a little bit smoother and it might make less sounds. But if it's not hurting you, those crackling sounds aren't that scary, aren't that bad for the most part. So you shouldn't train with just the intention of like making your knees not make sounds. I think you got so many other cool things to train for. I can't remember the rest of the question. Hold on. Let's see. What about bone cracking? Knees, hips, will mobility help with that? Yes, in general, mobility will help with that. Your whole entire lower body, hips down to the ankles, they might not feel like it. And the way we talk about fitness, especially when we talk about exercises, we're like, oh, this is a glute exercise, a hamstring exercise, this is a whatever type of exercise. They're all tied together. And when one area is weak, it tends to impact other areas, right? So if you have less hip mobility, and you've noticed it occasionally when, for example, you're sitting on the floor, you're like, oh, that's really hard. You can't really lift your leg, or you can't really open up your legs, or you can't comfortably rest in positions where your legs are bent, something like that. That might be down the chain impacting something else in your knees and your ankles. And if those are cracking, it might be somewhat connected to that. But it's not a guarantee. And if you're going to do hip mobility work, I think you should do it for the sake of hip mobility work, right? Like the secondary, the third tier benefits of it might be good, but this show in particular probably isn't going to be that good for a lot of those things, because a lot of the training that you probably need to do is not just having the flexibility, not having the like extra range of motion available to you. A lot of it is actually getting a lot stronger and using those muscles in a new way and making that new way of moving so normal to you that you don't default back to your old way of moving that causes your ankles to crack or your knees to hurt, right? Um, that sort of falls into more of like a rehabby world. It's not actually purely rehab because you're not necessarily injured, but you're retraining muscles that haven't been working quite as they possibly should have. And it takes a lot more thoughtful practice than this show will give you to rebuild or build for the first time that kind of strength and that kind of movement. Does that make sense? This show is mostly about practicing consistency. We do that consistency with side splits, with hip mobility, because we want to do something cool with our time, right? And the goal is to help people who feel like they could do this if only they stayed consistent to stay a little bit more consistent, to support us normal folks who get distracted by the big shiny new workout plan and the new YouTube video and the new whatever, 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 and help us stay a little bit more consistent. So specific to your needs, it might not be this show at least might not be the most useful show, but hip mobility, hip strength in general can definitely help with a lot of little things that kind of spread out from your hips not being mobile enough. And the two big areas that you should definitely look at are your hips and probably your upper back. For most of us, we spend a little bit too much time sort of slouched over in this position, right? Either looking at our phone in front of a computer, whatever it is, or even just hunched over into the sinking into your couch watching TV, right? And that position makes it real hard for your back to do other things, right? We do a little bit of thoracic rotation on this show, but we don't do much for back bending, opening up the chest, or even just rounding, or even going from side to side, because your spine is designed to be able to do those things. Um, for most people, your spine and your hips being extra mobile, moving extra well, is going to make a lot of things easier in your sports, in your carrying stuff, just day to day, in your sitting, in your chilling on the floor type situations, playing with kids. So, yeah, that was a long, rambly answer to a question that didn't require so much rambling. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that was useful. All right, Jonah sends a thumbs up. All right. That, I think, is all of the chat, and there's only like 15 of you on, so I think it's time for us to wrap up. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're all chilled out and relaxing now. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Go have fun, and I will see you tomorrow. The next live is in 10 and a half hours at 9 a.m. Eastern. If you are in another time zone, you're like, what time is that? Our live, this one, started at 9 p.m. Eastern, which was an hour and 28 minutes ago. Our next live is going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is 10 and a half hours from now. So, whatever time that is for you, make a mental note and come on back. Love to see you. Also, if you hit follow, if you hit subscribe, you'll probably get a notification. Not guaranteed, but most of the time you will. So, you can do that instead. Cool? All right, I'm closing up for today. Gonna go hang out. I will see you guys all real soon. I'll see you. Bye bye. Closing up.